Regulate peace like your life depends on it, especially with everything that we have going on. Allowing external circumstances to affect our inner homeostasis is not the vibe. And inner peace is knowing physically, spiritually, mentally that everything is going to work out in your favor, no matter what, whether it's stormy in your outer environment or on the inside, just knowing that whatever you're going through is a lesson and that you'll be able to learn from it and become stronger. That is what we need in these times, definitely. So, my name is Anaya, and today we're going to talk about the 5 pillars of peace and how you can use different practices to instill a deeper peace within yourself. And the first pillar of peace is intuition. And when you have a strong intuition, that means when you make a decision, you can trust that decision and then have peace knowing that you'll always put yourself in a position to grow, to be happy, to be safe, and to be comfortable. And one affirmation that I like to use when it comes to intuition is my intuition will never lead me astray. And it won't, because I trust her. And how do we know? Like, how can you kind of contextualize this idea of trusting your intuition, especially if you have led yourself astray in the past and you're trying to turn that around? Think of yourself in 2 different halves. There's 2 parts of yourself. The first part, which, side note, is the masculine self, is going to make the decision and is going to lead with a certain thought or a certain action plan. The second side of yourself is going to follow through, trust, and show up energetically. So when you have the 2 parts of yourself, allowing each one to trust the other is going to strengthen your intuition. For example, if you say, I want to get better at this certain skill within the next couple of months, that's your first side of yourself saying, okay, making the plan. And if you get home after work and like you consistently don't do that thing that you want to get better at, now your first side of yourself isn't going to trust the second side of yourself to follow through on that plan. Now that your first side doesn't trust your second side, it's going to be less likely to even make a decision. So that's where the feedback loop comes in, to where if you're not following through on the action that you said you were going to do, now you don't even trust yourself to follow through. And if you don't trust yourself to follow through, how are you going to trust that inner intuition when your gut is telling you something, like you need to be a certain place or you need to follow through on a certain idea? You're not going to trust yourself. So, trust comes from when you make a plan and you do something. It doesn't even have to be anything that's complicated. It can be so simple, but it's just as far as doing something that you say you're going to do. Or when you get that download and you feel that intuition, your body's always going to know. Doesn't matter what situation you're in, your body is going to know. When you get that download and you follow it, that will build trust with yourself. And that will strengthen your intuition, because you know now, like when you tell yourself something, you're going to believe it. Like I trust my intuition as much as I trust someone that's giving me advice or that's telling me. There's no better life coach in this world than you are for yourself, because you deep down are going to know. And I hope through this video series, this peace series, that you find more about yourself through a reflection of me, and that I am able to be a mirror to you, because there's no other better life coach in this world than you are for yourself. So that's number 1. The first pillar is intuition. The second pillar to build peace within your life and within yourself is detachment. That no matter what happens, whatever's in your life or not in your life, you are going to be okay. And the affirmation that I like to use for this is, I have all that I need. Listen to your emotions and what they're telling you. If they're telling you that you miss a certain person, or that you're craving this thing that doesn't fulfill you energetically, reel back and tell yourself, I have all that I need. There's nothing outside of myself that is going to bring me greater peace and greater joy than myself, than me. An example of this is, I guess it's harder for people who have anxious attachment styles. And I used to have a very anxious attachment style where when someone wouldn't text me back before the end of the day, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like now I'm feeling like maybe somebody doesn't love me, or maybe just like stress. Not necessarily that they don't love me, because I know that the people in my life do love me, but I just felt uneasy. Like my worth was coming from how fast people texted me back. But when you reel back in, and instead of waiting for someone to text you back, when you start getting like that feeling that you need that person to feel validated, have a list of things that you like to do for yourself that make you feel loved, and do those things in those moments when you feel of lack. That's where that I have all that I need comes from, and practicing self-regulation is going to help with that, and also helping with the greater idea of detachment, that there's nothing outside of you that's going to bring you more peace and stability than you, and you always have access to that, and it's not out of reach. Also, when things come in and out of your life, like relationships, or maybe you crash your car, or maybe you have to move to a different city, leave your friends, just know that you can always start over and always rebuild and restart. And say to yourself, I have all that I need. My happiness and my peace wasn't held in that item, it wasn't held in that person, and I can still give myself what I need, because the power is within me. The power of peace is within me. So the third pillar of peace is authenticity. And the affirmation that I like to use for this is, I am loved and accepted. Because I think the blockage that we have when we are showing up inauthentic is we don't feel accepted as the most pure part of ourselves around certain groups and certain people. Yeah, and then a practice that helps me strengthen my authenticity is to silence the inner critic. I think when we don't feel accepted in certain circles, this can be external, but it's also a result of we project and see things in people that we already believe within ourselves. For example, if you hear some music and then you start dancing, and then you immediately think, oh my God, why am I dancing so weird? Or why am I moving so weird? You think people are judging you because you're already judging yourself, girly. You did it first, so now you think they're judging. But when you see somebody out in public, do you really think two thoughts about whether or not they're dancing normally or crazy? Like, no, it's just you're observing your environment. And if you are judging people, then I think that reflects on you, and that's why you judge yourself. Because as you are judging people, that's your nature, and you believe other people have a similar nature to you. So if you're judging, of course everyone else is judging you. But if you release yourself of that judgment and practice non-judgment, now you are a person of non-judgment, so you believe others to be people of non-judgment as well. That doesn't exist within your inner world, so it doesn't exist in your outer world. So once you rid yourself of the judgment, once you control the self-critic, and it looks like when the thought pops up, you give yourself 3 or 4 positive thoughts that negate that, so that you start to build the belief of support instead of criticism for your inner self. So yeah, for example, if you're doing that dance and you're like, oh my God, I look so weird doing this, or I feel so weird. Instead, say to yourself, I am loved and accepted as I am. I dance freely and no one is judging me. I love the way I dance. You know, kind of counteracting that negative thought that you initially came up with. The more you do that, the more you will build a supportive inner voice. And the more you have that supportive inner voice, you're creating your own world, your own environment of peace, support, and authenticity. you'll start to see the outer world in that same way, and you'll no longer feel like people are judging you, and you'll feel so much more comfortable to show up authentically because you're not judging yourself, other people aren't judging you, and it's all good. Dance like nobody's watching. The lessons are in the cliches, let me tell you. We should have been dancing like nobody's watching this whole time. But anyways, the fourth pillar of inner peace is stress regulation. Sometimes it's not even being in a safe environment. It's being able to regulate your stress because your stress is telling you that you're unsafe. So, an affirmation that I like to use for this is I am safe. Whenever I start feeling shaky, maybe before an interview or a first date, or maybe you just generally get shaky before work and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen today at work. I don't know what's going to happen before I meet my friend. Or maybe you need to have a hard conversation with somebody and you feel just like, when you start feeling like that, think to yourself, wait, is everything going to work out? Like, am I going to be hurt physically? No. Oh. Am I in an environment where I'm safe? Yeah. Oh. Will I be fine after this conversation? Like, will it hurt me? Emotionally, maybe. Physically, no. So when you start to have behaviors that are calm, like, just straight back, shoulders back, voice relaxed, maybe roll your neck, maybe take deeper breaths. Mimic the behavior that your body shows you when you're in a calm state. Deep breaths, and tell yourself, I am safe. You have to really think about it logically, because if you let your body lead and link this stressful situation to stressful body movements, then you will be stressed and you're going to think, oh my God, like this is going to be so terrible. And they say that we experience things twice, first in our head, second in real life. And don't allow yourself to indulge in that suffering by first creating a reality where everything goes wrong. Where this is going to go wrong, that's going to go wrong. I'm going to say the wrong thing, or I'm going to embarrass myself. Instead of thinking what could go wrong, think what's the best that could happen. Everything is working out for me. I am safe. I am relaxed. And once I'm done with this, then I get to go do A, B, C, and D and enjoy the rest of my day. Most of the time, whatever is going to happen isn't going to be as bad as you think it's going to be. So it's really a mind exercise, being able to regulate stress and put yourself in an internal environment where you're not worried about the outcome. You're not having anxiety around the future. You're not creating a situation that's going to go bad and literally dragging yourself through that film. It's like you play a movie before your eyes before you do anything, and it's the worst outcome that you could ever think of. So because of that movie that you've already played for yourself, you walk into the situation already stressed and already upset. Instead, be a director that is kind. You're the director of your life. Be a kind director and think of all the best possibilities that could happen. And the worst thing that could happen is that movie doesn't match up with what happened in real life. But at the end of the day, you are still safe. You are still going to be okay. And that's because everything that you've been through before this very moment, you have made it through and you're here. Every single time you've made it through every single tough, tumultuous period of your life, and you are still here, and you will continue to be here and show up for yourself. So that is why you are safe. And that's the affirmation that I like to use for stress regulation. Such a huge pillar of peace half of the journey is telling yourself what to believe. And you create all the ideologies that you believe about yourself in your head. So be that kind director. And also understand that stress does not alter time or space. In other words, it doesn't change anything. Am I focused? Sorry if I wasn't focused, but hopefully I'm focused now. Stress doesn't change anything. You know, the thing's going to happen whether or not you stress about it. If I have a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment and I'm a little bit nervous about it, I like to bring a book, or I like to watch some YouTube that I know is going to calm me down. And then I don't really think about how it's going to go until the moment before the procedure or whatever, because there's no use in stressing about it at all. Have a couple of defaults of safe things that you can think about or you can use to entertain yourself before you go into a certain situation. You know, because you don't need to spend extra time stressing about something when in the end, stress doesn't change anything about the situation. It actually makes it worse. So stress regulation is the fourth and very important pillar of cultivating inner peace. And the last one is identity. And the affirmation I like to use for identity is I belong. And identity brings a very rooted feeling. And I remember wondering what my ethnic background was until I took a DNA test. And I remember seeing friends of mine, they knew their ethnic background, they practiced it, and they went to events and they went to their home countries. And I was just like, where's mine? Like, how can I get to be a part of something bigger and it's not just me? So I took a DNA test and I found out that I am very much Nigerian. And a way to connect to your identity aside from ethnicity, you can go the ethnic route if you don't really know what it is. Just guess, literally pick one. And then you can make food that they eat in that country. You can find books. I found so many African authors of fiction, nonfiction, and I just read their books. And I'm like, what is the mind state of people in that country? How do they think? How do they create? You can go to events. You can look something up online. And aside from the ethnic part of being connected, you can also just find people that have the same interests as you. If you like yoga, if you like meditation, if you like working out, you can go to the gym and at least talk to one person while you're there, or sign up for a class, or libraries have a lot of free events. Getting inside of a community where you can see yourself reflected in other people will strengthen your sense of identity and therefore strengthen that feeling of peace, of I belong, because I see me in you and I know that you belong. So that means I belong too. So yeah, that's the fifth pillar of peace. And to review, the first one is intuition, trusting yourself. And the second is detachment. I have all that I need. The third is authenticity. I am loved and accepted. The fourth one is stress regulation. I am safe. And the fifth one is identity. I belong. And once you strengthen those 5 pillars, then you got a strong little house going on. You know, you got a little brick house of peace. And the more you practice each pillar, the stronger your house will become and harder it will be for your external circumstances to knock that down. I often get told that I am a very peaceful person, and I'm like, thank you, I feel peaceful. And that energy is felt, and the more you practice, the more it will exude and rub off onto other people. So also practice being in certain environments that you can rub off on, or that can rub off on you and make you feel peaceful, alongside doing that inner work. So I hope this video helps. Please like and subscribe. We have 3 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. And comment down below, what do you do to bring yourself more peace? And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.